Hello, folks. This is Joe from MyGeeksy, and I'm here for the 5th time trying to do this intro with Micah Solusod at Dokidokon.
That's
Micah,
me.
how are you today?
I'm doing peachy. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad after the numerous flubs trying to begin this interview.
That's okay. Good rehearsal.
Yes, I try. For those of you who don't know, Micah is an actor, an artist, and a musician. Oh, come on. We'll get into that. Spare me. But he's a actor, voice acting. You might have heard his voices. Yuri Plasetsky in Yuri on Ice.
Truth.
Soul Evans from Soul Eater.
Truth.
And Yuno from Black Clover.
Truth.
So I normally start off my interviews with this question of voice actors.
Yeah.
What was your first exposure to anime, not as an actor, but while growing up?
Like my first anime I ever saw?
Yes.
It's a bit of a weird one.
Okay.
It's an esoteric one. I grew up in a Christian household, and so one of the things they showed us when we were in Sunday school was this anime, this cartoon called Superbook, which is a Japanese time-traveling series about these kids who go back into like biblical times and see the stories unfold.
Okay.
It's almost like Doctor Who-ish in nature.
Are you a Whovian?
Used to be. Kind of fell off that.
My girlfriend's a huge Whovian. I've yet to watch a single episode.
There are some really, really strong episodes. There are also some really, really bad episodes.
I mean, I know Tatum's a huge fan of Doctor Who.
Yes. He used to be when the writing was a little different. But yeah, we've bonded over that.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But did you ever, this isn't even part of the interview, did you ever see like his little short, it was a short series that he played a Cyberman? Yeah, he did like a Doctor Who spin-off, fan-made Doctor Who spin-off.
That's fascinating. No, I did not see that.
Well, it's on YouTube, so I don't know. Talk to him.
I know what I'm going to do tonight. Got plans.
So one of the roles that I didn't mention at the beginning of this interview was you're black in Blood Blockade Battlefront.
Yes.
And actually, oddly enough, I had recently purchased that series because Funimation had it on sale for like $20 for the first season.
Heck yeah.
And I was like, I heard so much about this, I might as well just check it out. $20. If it's a flop, oh well, it is what it is. And I thought it was really good. And then when I was watching it, and then I decided to check the credits, I was like, oh, he's in there. Oh, I guess this is potential research for the hopeful interview, which I'm now conducting now.
Yes.
But why is that show a treasure for you? Because you came back in season 2.
I did.
Which I was happy to see.
Same. That Black is actually my favorite character I've ever voiced. The show itself to me is special because it is. I'm an anime fan from the '90s, and so my thing was the original Toonami. You know.
Oh yes.
Cowboy Bebop, Trigun. You know, that era, and so knowing that it's a series written by the Trigun author and animated by the studio that did Cowboy Bebop. And I happen to be a big fan of the character designer as well. That just spoke to me. Like it was like the best of both worlds, and getting to be a part of that crazy universe was kind of it was like my Trigun and my Cowboy Bebop in some ways. And the character itself, we didn't know who this character was. We did a broadcast dub of it, and he was an anime original. He wasn't in the manga.
To find that out.
Yeah. And so it was sort of like creating the character from the ground up. So I guess the closest that I got to being like a prelay type of starting the character from scratch.
And I did notice the slight differences in the vocal performances between both Black and the King of Despair.
Yes, we tried to focus on the character difference, not necessarily the vocal difference. Early on, I was sort of playing with the idea of giving him 2 distinct different voices, but I thought about it from a practical standpoint of like, well, if a demon is possessing someone's body, there's a good chance they're just going to be using that person's vocal cords, so the difference wouldn't be so extreme in like they have 2 completely different voices. They just speak from different parts. You know, Black is very reserved, he's very quiet, he's very nervous and anxious, whereas the King of Despair is very almost like flamboyant. He doesn't care. He's very confident, very narcissistic. So I approached it from the idea of, you know, from a people standpoint, people who are more reserved, they don't project. They speak from their throat. They speak from their nose. It's all here. Whereas someone who doesn't care, just projects and is like, whatever. So tried to focus on that element in the character and just define them that way rather than through just different voices.
Oh. The thing is, like, after I got done watching both seasons, and I'm hoping for a third one, the manga series is still going on. I tried finding the manga, but, like, the first series was, like, only 10 volumes.
Yeah.
And a good portion of them are already out of print.
Yes,
so it's like, I'm not dropping $54 for a used volume. And I was just, like, so disappointed with that.
Here's hoping someone rescue licenses it.
Well, I mean, Volume 10's about to come out pretty soon. I'm I'm just hoping that they do like a box set through Dark Horse.
Oh, that would be good. That would be excellent.
So, I normally come up with my own questions, but I'm curious to the answer for your own question that you posted on your social media.
Oh.
Name a voice performance that left a lasting impression on you in the past 3 years.
Ooh.
Sorry for the. I had to be a little unoriginal. I thought it was a really good question.
No, I was actually very curious because that all happened because I was watching an older dub, and it still held up. I was shocked that the script adaptation was on point. It was conversational, not stilted or translated, but still stayed true to the original intent.
What was the show?
I watched the Cowboy Bebop movie and Spirited Away.
Okay.
And I thought they aged extremely well.
Of course.
But yeah, the script was tight, didn't stray too far from the original translation, but still was punchy and conversational, and the performances were still spot on. So I was kind of curious, like, in my opinion, I've noticed that a lot of studios have prioritized speed over, taking their time and rushing and putting the care and effort that they used to in projects. And I don't know if that's just the nostalgia glasses for me or whatnot, but there's been a definite cut in time, in our production time. So I was just curious to see if what people were considering good or of quality or memorable in recent memory. So for me, that's also tough because I haven't actually seen a lot of things.
I mean, I generally, when I'm asking voice actors, I know you folks are busy with all your projects and whatnot, so when will you really have time to sit down and watch anime out the wazoo?
Yeah.
You really don't.
I will say J. Michael Tatum's performance in The Empire of Corpses to me was spot on. It was a character I've never really seen him play before. He used a Cockney accent instead of the high RP. And his portrayal was just, you could tell he was having fun. He really just dove into that character. Outside of anime, I'm a big fan of, what's his name? He plays Rocket in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, forgive me on that one.
Him. Do you remember? But him, I keep forgetting that he's not present in the room with them. He's off in some studio voice acting. So, yeah, those two probably.
You can say it at some point. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Quick pause for the answer.
Bradley Cooper. He's fantastic.
Thank you, sir, for the assist.
Appreciate it.
So let's talk about your character Bagel Amelie in the upcoming Kickstarter game Cryamore.
Oh, Cryamore. Wow, yeah. I wish I could. We actually haven't had any forward movement.
Oh, so you haven't done any voice acting for that?
No.
All right, well, I guess forget that one. All right, so actually, yes, we've been talking about your voice acting, but I wanted to go more into like things, your more personal side. So you are the artist and one of the creators of Painapple Studio.
Correct.
So why that particular name for that for your studio?
We found a Japanese candy for pineapple candy or whatever. And the way the Japanese pronounce that was pineapple, whatever. But the way they spelt it in English was Painapple. And so we decided to go with that. Be like, that would be a really funny name for a studio. Originally, we were going to call ourselves Painapple Teriyaki, but that's too long, so we just went with Painapple Studio.
And that's a studio that you and your wife create projects through.
Yes.
And I actually wanted to talk about the two projects that are on there.
Absolutely.
ties that bind the webcomic, and now, from what I understand, a graphic novel for Volume 1.
Yes.
And please help me with the pronunciation of your light novel. Is it K Tantani?
K Tante.
K Tante.
Yeah.
Okay. So, ties that bind. What
yes.
is it about?
It is a fantasy story. It's sort of a nod to the old 90s fantasy anime. It is a world where magic is commonplace. It's as common as electricity. Everyone can use it, acknowledge it. It's there. But recently there have been people who are born with the ability to not use magic or interact with it. And for some reason, they're being rounded up and taken to the capital.
Seeds.
Yeah. Seeds, exactly. And no one really knows why or what their purpose is. And one of our main characters is a leader, a squad leader in the military. And she is a seed who can't use magic, but she's still a badass. So it's the story of their journey.
How do you pronounce her name, though?
Fern.
Okay, I was trying to figure that out because I actually read all of it.
Oh, thank you.
And I really enjoyed the color. I know it's a weird panel thing, but the thing that sticks out to me was the color of Sky's eye when he was looking over to the other side. I really liked the color choice for that.
Thank you. That is all my wife. She designed the original core cast and had the colors in mind. So
I mean, and I like the fact that on the website you two would put like little boxes of commentary under each thing, and that gave me insight. And I also like I always look at a director's commentary. I always find those things fascinating. Like,
yes.
Why did you do this? So from what I understand, you recently you had to take a break because you're busy with your stuff, and now you're picking it back up.
Absolutely.
So do you have in mind like how long that you want the series to be, especially since you released Volume 1?
Yes.
Which is 4 chapters.
We've only scratched the surface. There is so much more of the story that we've been wanting to tell, but we just haven't had the time. So we're buckling down, and we're going to try to get as much of it out as we can, as fast as we can. We're currently working on getting a Patreon started.
Okay.
Part of the reason why we've had to put it on hiatus is because of the broadcast dubs, because that just takes up most of our time. And so I'm personally looking to step away from voice acting for a bit and just focus on the comic.
Okay.
In general. So.
Right, well, you're clearly talented because when I looked at the artwork, and no, I'm not blowing smoke. It's just like this dude's really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
If it wasn't like in color, that would have I would have like this is. And I hope this is not coming off as a backhanded compliment.
No.
It's like, this is like real deal manga style art.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at it, but the thing that well, I knew who you were, and also like, well, this is in color. So
right.
most mangas are not in color. So really good job.
Thank you.
And I actually wanted to come back to that in a moment, but would you be able to tell me about the other project, the light novel?
Yes. The light novel, it is a work in progress. We're still trying to figure out how we want to release it. If we should do it in installments. We have this idea to make it kind of interactive. It is essentially a murder mystery. The main character is an actor who portrays a detective on TV, and he's become well known within the community for being able to solve mysteries in real life as well. But what people don't know is that he's actually fed this information from an actual genius, an actual freelance detective on the side.
Sounds like gossip.
A bit, kind of, yeah. So with all his performance and everything like that, he takes the spotlight while the real genius stays at home and doesn't interact with real people.
So, back to your artwork.
Absolutely.
Who are the artists whose work that you enjoy the most?
Ooh, good question.
I try.
I
try. Were you expecting the typical interview?
I mean,
I clearly demonstrated that with I kept flubbing up at the beginning of this, like, oh my God, he actually read all my work. Yeah.
I trust you. I'm a big fan of Toshihiro Kawamoto. I think that's his name. He's the character designer for Cowboy Bebop, Noragami, Blood Blockade Battlefront. He is just an inspiration. I love his line work. I own several of his art books.
Very nice.
Takeshi Obata, who draws Death Note, is also an inspiration. And I've become recently a big fan of the artist for Food Wars. I think he's a digital artist, which surprises me for like shonen manga that they allow digital artwork, but his lines are very clean. The tones are very smooth. So that kind of encourages me because I just made the transition from traditional artwork to digital.
Was it a difficult going from analog to digital?
Very much so. It just did not feel right. But there's something about being able to hit Control Z when I make a mistake rather than erasing or having to start over from scratch.
Only imagine like having that happen. I'm no artist, but I do appreciate, and I know it's subjective, but I always appreciate good artwork when I see it.
Yes.
Like one of my favorite artists, and he's still working on the series, is Kentaro Miura of Berserk. His artwork is so incredibly detailed. I'm like, how are your hands not a gnarled mass?
Yes.
And like, I'm in it for the long run. He's been working on it for 30 years. I don't care as long as he finishes it before he dies. I just like, please do not pass away, dude. Your artwork is so great.
Another artist I really appreciate is one, she's completely underrated as a mangaka, but Kaoru Mori. She did the Emma Victorian Maid series, and she's currently working on something called A Bride Story.
Okay.
Her current work, A Bride Story, takes place in like this old Mongolian era. But she inks every pattern on their clothing. Like they're known for their intricate, detailed patterns on their clothing and everything. And like her pen work is just phenomenal. Buying her manga it's art. It is absolute art.
I agree.
And I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to get into like inking and really interested in like intricate, detailed artwork. Like I cannot recommend that enough.
Okay. Is there any Western artists that you like?
There are a few. I do like Marcus To. He's an artist. He does mostly DC stuff. He was known for his run for Red Robin, Tim Drake.
Okay.
And I used to be a big fan of Michael Turner as well.
Okay, yes. I'm familiar with his artwork. I mean, the eyes for his characters, especially like Superman.
Gorgeous.
And Supergirl, I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a huge comic book fan and stuff like that.
Nice. Very nice.
I mean, I take it you're into comic books too?
I used to be. Not so much now. I focus mainly on anime and manga style.
But well, then what were you reading like when you were like really into it before you started focusing on your career?
Mostly DC stuff. I read a lot of Batman, Batgirl. Michael Turner's run on Supergirl was really fascinating to me. But I was a casual. I wasn't too deep into it.
Like I'm gonna pull that. Oh, you're not up to my comic expertise level.
Well,
you know?
Some people get really offended if I'm not.
That's ridiculous because no one wants to hang out with that person. No one's gonna be like, I want to hang out with you.
True, but a lot of people like being that person.
Oh, I think it's a ridiculous concept too because, I mean, yeah, I have a vast knowledge of comic books, but I'm not gonna like I'm somehow better than you. I mean, who cares? At the end of the day, you can't really talk to. You can only talk to people that are into that sort of stuff. You can't have that casual conversation with, like, I don't know, your office coworker. Well, you can have that casual conversation with your workers. But, like, I work in a hospital. I can't just talk to a doctor like, hey, did you by chance check out the new chapter of Berserk?
Yes.
He's like, oh, yeah, totally all about it.
That's true.
I just find that to be a ridiculous concept to look down on people because they somehow are not to your imaginary level.
It's a bit of elitism, you know, holding that like, oh, I have all this knowledge and you don't.
Oh, please. I'm going to keep with the gatekeeping and I'm going to be all by myself. So.
I will say I do appreciate I've thought about going into this, but I just don't have the patience for it. But I'm a big fan of Transformers.
Okay.
And so the IDW run, like Alex Mill, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, but there's another artist.
Should we talk to Cliff Chapin about this?
I mean, we could, yeah. He's a big fan of that, too. We bond over it. But their work is phenomenal. I don't know how they managed to pump out that much artwork in such a short amount of time. Drawing robots, you know? I can't even draw a straight line without a ruler.
Wonk, wonk, wonk. So I actually wanted to go into a different subject.
Yeah.
I personally think that they're awesome, but I want to know why you like going to Ren fairs.
I go because my wife likes to go.
So you have no emotional investment in this whatsoever?
I like them. I think they're really cool, but it's a casual thing for me.
Oh, that's
fair.
Fair.
It's a nice little. It's not an anime con. It's not a comic book con. It's someplace that I can go and enjoy it without having to worry about like, is this work?
Actually, oddly enough, 2016, I once interviewed Tia Ballard at a Michigan Renaissance Festival.
Nice.
She was supposed to come out to this one event in Flint. I mean, I know you have no reference for you, but that fell through, and the guy who was running it is like, well, I have free tickets to the Renaissance Festival, so all the people that paid to see her, it was like a meet and greet, and her brought them out to the Renaissance. Yeah, to the Ren Fair.
That's so cool.
And I was like, I reached out to her agent ahead of time, agreed to it, and so we just did an interview at the Ren Fair, so you can just see people doing the walk of shame as they're heading to jail, being led by the jailers.
Nice.
And it was a pretty good interview. I mean, I thought it was a good interview, and so fun of a person.
Certainly, I bet it was one of a kind interview.
Yeah, I can say that's my claim to shame. You know, said that
Nice.
to her too. All right. Why would you like to see the ghost in the Tokaido Inn turn into an audio drama?
Oh, it's just a thing I do.
Who would you like to play?
I would not want to be in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to cast it, but I wouldn't want to be in it. I don't know. I've had this odd fascination with casting as of late, and it's sort of turning into a desire to direct. But when I read something or watch an anime or read a comic, I'll hear voices of coworkers or other actors in the industry and think they'd be really suited for this. I've dabbled in casting at Funimation as well. There are times that a director will be like, "Hey, do you have any recommendations for so and so?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, try this guy," and they'll end up casting that person. So, yeah, it's just a little hobby, I guess you could say.
All right. Well, then, speaking of ghosts, how was your recent ghost tour? Touchy subject, because if not, I don't.
No, I absolutely enjoyed it, but there was definitely a moment there that I'm still trying to rationalize with myself of like, that wasn't a thing, right? There was a moment where I got a little creeped out by something, and I wasn't sure if I was just imagining it or if it was just the humidity or something or whatever. I've been trying to explain it away.
I just wouldn't do too well in that environment. I don't know how I would react.
I love the lore. There are great stories there, and as an actor, as a creator, you chase after interesting, unique stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so learning about the history of this town and the weird crap that went on there, like unspeakable things that were spoken, just fascinates me. It is definitely something I recommend to anyone who just wants a good story.
Well, do you do research more into these things? Like,
no, that was the first time I ever did anything like that. So it definitely encouraged me to do it again.
Okay. As I hinted at the beginning of this interview, you are a musician. Even though you're trying to coyly play it down, well, let's call it like it is. You are a musician. Like, yeah, I play the drums and I do flamenco guitar, which is not an easy task to pull off.
I do. So that's generous.
Influential or favorite musicians?
Honestly, I'm a big fan of my father. He's a musician. He used to play professionally, and so I really look up to him when it comes to music. He's the only reason why I do music. It's sort of this desire to sort of be like him.
So did he do both drums and guitar too?
He's a bassist, and he played a 12-string.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just recently saw a video with a guy playing a 24-string bass, and I'm like, how?
Dang. Yeah.
A lot of slapping.
He owned a couple of 5- and 6-string basses. He started on the stand-up bass, and he was as small as I am when he started playing the bass, and he wanted the big stand-up. They had to put him on a chair so he could actually reach the top string, but yeah, or the top notes.
So why did you choose flamenco?
Style? Just an acoustic guitar. I don't actually play flamenco. It's just a travel-sized acoustic guitar. It's easy. It's easier than piano. I don't have to remember all those different notes, and I can get away with playing more poorly. It's forgivable.
Are you currently recording an EP for a game character that you played who is a musician, or have you done that, or?
That's complicated. I was supposed to record an EP. The problem is I don't actually have that many connections. Like, my skill level when it comes to making music is not professional level. I don't mix, I don't master, I don't do any of that, and my home setup is definitely not good for recording an actual EP. But yes, I wrote music for that, and we are currently in the process of recording that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess for your rough drafts, you can just get yourself a Zoom or a Tascam and just put that in the room and just do
Yeah.
that.
I've recorded scratch tracks, but nothing worth selling at all.
Okay. Well, continuing, because we're wrapping this up, but
Yeah.
continuing down the musical path.
Mm-hmm.
First album you ever purchased with your own money?
It was Help by the Beatles.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a very good choice.
Mm-hmm. It was my favorite at the time, and then I got shortly after that I got Rubber Soul.
All right.
Yeah.
So I take it you're a big Beatles fan?
Yeah. They were the first band that my parents introduced me to. So.
No, I mean, Beatles are a great band, and oddly enough, before this interview, I came out of the Harp Twins performance, and they were playing Norwegian Wood.
Ooh, on the harp?
Yeah.
Ooh, that must have been so good.
It was pretty good.
Dang. I'm sad I missed that now. I'll have to YouTube that.
I'm sorry. Well, yeah, I think it's up. I'm sorry for bringing you the bad news then, I guess.
Ah, no. It's fine.
All right. Let's talk about your love for Corey Wong's music.
Yes, that has become my.
Thank you, Justin Briner, for that tip at JFX.
Yeah, no, he's the only reason why I've checked it out. He recommended it.
He's a huge fan.
And I just fell in love with it. It's the kind of music that my dad loves listening to. He played a lot of funk. He loves funk, and so hearing it, it just reminded me, brought good memories of me of like my dad playing when he was younger, and it's a style that I wish I could play better. I wish I could because it's essentially just musicians jamming. You know, it's freestyle. There isn't really any like lyrics or anything like that. It's just fun beats. And yeah, if it wasn't for Briner's recommendation, I would not be into that. But he's my current obsession.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another group that you like. Why does Don't Blink by Reliant K speak to you?
Don't Blink, the lyrics in the song deal with a lot of just overcoming your fear. The chorus, or the chorus says, "Don't blink or it's gone. I've been terrified of life for way too long," and that's essentially how I feel about my life. I struggle with anxiety. Coming out to conventions, being an actor, definitely has made that more apparent in my life, but it's something I want to overcome. So it resonates with me.
Awesome.
In a personal way.
So what other songs or albums do you connect with then? Whether musically or lyrically?
That's a good question.
Thank you again.
I don't know. You put me on the spot, and
I'll throw out one of mine.
Yeah.
Siamese Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins. Like that whole album I connected with because that was the second album I ever purchased with my own money.
Oh, nice.
The first album I ever purchased was The Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails because like I grew up in the 90s.
Nice.
But Siamese Dream, I was like, wow, this is so great. I mean, like when I was younger, I used to be depressed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I would have depressed due to feeling so lonely, and like that music spoke to me.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm older, it's like I can still connect with this. You know, I'm no longer depressed, nowhere near as much. You know, and it's just like, wow, these are still great albums that are timeless to me, whether it be based on nostalgia.
Yeah.
And whatnot, but it's definitely more because I emotionally connected with it. If I can connect with the music itself, not necessarily lyrically, that's a nice icing on the cake.
Oh,
but
yeah,
like
absolutely.
the music itself, when that speaks to me, I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Absolutely. I'd say an album that has sort of stood out to me in recent memory is an album by this band called Switchfoot. The lead singer John Foreman is sort of like a role model to me. He does a lot for his community. He has really good messages of hope and positivity, especially when you're faced with the questions of life of like, why do bad things happen and how do we overcome it. And so I really do appreciate his messages because it's easy for me to get down in life and just stay there. But having that little outlet of hope, being like, hey, there is a next step. Focus on that is really good.
That's amazing, dude.
I appreciate that.
So do you go to many concerts?
I do
Or
not.
in the past?
I do not. I am not a very social person, and being around that many people will definitely trigger my social anxiety.
No, all right. Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
I've been to maybe about 2 concerts in my life, and
What were they?
I went to go see, a friend of mine invited me to go see an Owl City concert when
Okay.
he was in Dallas. And I
Sorry
don't-
for putting you on the spot.
Oh no. It was it was at a convention. It was they had TM Revolution and Homemade Kazoku
Okay.
at Otakon, and shortly after that, it was Yoko Kano
You saw Yoko Kano?
in concert. Yeah,
I am so jealous, dude.
perks
Um,
of being a guest.
Wow. I mean, like, the only thing that's come, I mean, because Bebop is one of my favorite series
Oh, yeah.
of all time. I have all the soundtracks, including Music for Freelance, the remix album.
Oh dang, nice.
You don't have that?
No, I do not. I do not.
I might be able to hook you up with that tomorrow. I might throw that your way.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a really. I mean, like, they had all these DJs they would just take songs and just transform them and give them different vibes.
Nice. Remix
So,
them.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really nice. I mean, and it's all set up. The whole album's set up. It's a concept album set up to be like a pirated radio station.
That's so cool.
So, like, with little interludes, like this Radio Free Mars, and like the DJ is talking about it. So
That's awesome.
no, but just the fact that you got to see Yoko Kanno. The only thing I've come close to seeing, I don't have the DVD, but I've seen the video footage, was from like when the Seatbelts performed live.
Oh wow.
You know.
Yeah.
Because I also have that album too. Like, I'm a huge fan of Bebop. Own the series, own the movie, own all the soundtracks, the manga, and I was very fortunate enough. And I'm sorry for the name dropping. I was very fortunate enough to interview Steve Bloom in 2016.
Nice.
And we did terrible Harvey Firestein impressions mid-interview.
He's a really cool dude.
Oh, super nice.
Yes. Very down to earth.
So, I guess as we're wrapping this up, I've really enjoyed this. So, thank you so far.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. So, what's new that you're able to promote?
Black Clover, as you mentioned,
I really
is
enjoyed
still
the manga to that. I haven't watched the series yet, but I will after.
the
talking
manga's
to you.
really good. It's currently airing on Toonami. I'm currently in a game, the new Dragon Ball Legends for mobile, playing a brand new Saiyan to the universe. Hasn't been named yet. He's sort of a mysterious character, but
Is like the subtitle name Red?
he
Saiyan?
is Saiyan in red.
Saiyan in Red. Okay.
Yeah, or hooded Saiyan, depending.
Enough for Conan O'Brien to play the game.
Yes, it's actually really fun, very addictive. What's out? What can I talk about? Oh, and I was recently in Smite.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And if people wanted to find out more about you online, where could they go?
Nowhere. No, they could hit me up on Twitter, My Ocean Eyes, MAI Ocean Eyes, and also on Instagram. You can also visit our website, our Painapple Studio website, for more information about our artwork.
And final question: what would you like to say to your fans throughout the years?
I am so sorry.
That totally works for me. Well, folks, this is Joe from My Geek Scene here with Micah Solusod at Dokidokon.
Dokidokon.
Take it easy.
Believe it.